It's been a while since the last cricket video on the channel, and what better way to return to the sport than the SA20? South Africa has some of my favourite cricket grounds in the world, so let's check them out. Newlands, MI Cape Town. The MI actually stands for Mumbai Indians. That might seem odd, but the teams are owned by Indian Premier League team owners, who have named their SA20 teams in a way that capitalises on the Indian team's popularity. Anyway, this ground that dates back to the late 1800s is primarily known for its stunning Table Mountain backdrop, which is considered to be amongst the most scenic backdrops at any cricket venue. And yeah, I'd agree. But even if you took that away, it's a pretty good stadium in its own right. I love the white seats, green roof combo. It just gives the ground a timeless, traditional look. SuperSport Park, Pretoria Capitals. South Africa has 3 capital cities, doesn't it? One unique aspect about this stadium is that it's named after and owned by the TV network that usually broadcasts cricket in South Africa. Something else that makes it a little odd is that rather than a big sight screen, or batter's eye in baseball lingo, they just have white seats behind the bowler's arm. That is of course irrelevant in T20 cricket because a white ball is used rather than a red one, so it's just covered to form a black sight screen. I think I may have put a few people to sleep with that sight screen chat. Yet another interesting aspect are these little pavilions. Pretty cool. Kingsmead, Durban Supergiants. I suppose in India the name Supergiants doesn't sound ridiculous. This ground has a hodgepodge mix of stands that don't necessarily match each other, but I kinda like that. This section with the grass berm in front of the stand is especially unusual. Actually, the last time I saw that was at another South African stadium. This ground once hosted a test match that astonishingly lasted 10 days and ended in a draw. It only ended because England needed to catch their ship home. I think they were actually heading for a win. Nowadays, of course, we no longer have timeless tests. It's 5 days maximum. T20 of course lasts just a few hours. St George's Park, Sunrisers Eastern Cape. This is the oldest ground in the league at a little over 160 years old. So old that the city went by a different name when it opened. Beha was known as Port Elizabeth back in the early days of 2021. I probably messed up the pronunciation pretty badly. I mean, the spelling doesn't necessarily give any indication. It might actually be Port Elizabeth. The highlight of St George's Park would have to be the main stand. Not only does it have a nice brick exterior, but the stacked seating allows for a great view for everyone in the stand. Come to think of it, that is actually common in South Africa. That's partly why I like the stadium so much. The Wanderers, Joburg Super Kings. This is the biggest cricket stadium in South Africa and it's known for its hostile atmosphere, which is usually not something associated with cricket, the gentleman's game. But personally, I'd take the expletive-laden verbal barrage of Johannesburg over the polite applause that you get at Lord's any day. The stadium itself is even more varied than any of the other stadiums we've seen so far, with some stands that are architecturally sophisticated, some that are simple rusty metal structures that don't exactly look structurally sound. There's also the obligatory grass hill where the vegans can graze, and unlike Kingsmead, it sort of does come together nicely and doesn't look so hodgepodge. We just had the largest and now we have the smallest, Boland Park, Pile Royals. Not only is it the smallest, but it's also the most basic. However, while the architecture might not be all that impressive, something else is. As you can see, it has that same sort of spectacular backdrop as Newlands. It is after all less than 50 kilometers from Cape Town. Combine that with the extensive grass berm and the numerous trees that call it home, and you get a ground that seems like a really relaxing place to watch cricket. That's it for today's video. As always, if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.